Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Appreciate you jumping on here and joining me. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. Let's take a look at pricing before we jump into some news. Lots of chatter about who's going to be SEC chairman. And there's a name out there that not a lot of people like because it's tied to a certain investigation. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But before we jump into that, let's take a look at pricing. Bitcoin up almost 2% last 24 hours, sitting at 93,518. Ethereum sitting at 3,120 up, flat over the last 24 hours. Solana down slightly, sitting at 238.38. XRP up 0.73%, sitting at $1.11. Let's move over to some news. And first, let's hear from Mr. John Deaton, the great John Deaton, attorney who was just at the XRP Unleashed, aka Rigged from the Start premiere in Boston. He made an appearance there, signing some autographs, taking some pictures, and discussing the film. But here he talks about the potential picks for SEC chairman and why it should not and cannot be Robert Stebbins. Stebbins, take a listen.
Okay, now let's first talk about who President Trump absolutely should not pick on that list to be SEC chair, and that is Bob Stebbins. Okay, now
Bob Stebbins is the one he wants not to get this role. He was implicated in the ETHgate scandal. He was copied on emails, was aware of what was happening during that time, and thus many in the XRP community believe he should not be considered for the chair position because he did not act appropriately on the emails he was copied on. Moving on to Chad Steingraber, he says, remember, a very relatively small amount of new net money inflows, 5 million, moved XRP's market cap by a near 30 plus billion. Imagine an actual 1 billion, an actual 10 billion, an actual 100 billion, an actual 1 trillion of daily inflows. What that would do to the price. Remember, folks, we still do not have clarity. Gary Gensler is still acting chair. So RLUSD has not yet been approved. SAB has not been approved, has not been passed. So there's a lot that's still holding back this price. Again, not financial advice, do your own research, but if the 5 million moved the price, I gotta believe these other inflows will as well. Let's jump over to Armando Pantoja. He says the Thanksgiving effect will push Bitcoin past 100,000 and XRP past $1.50. Post-halving 2 weeks after Thanksgiving in 2017, we were plus 100%. 2020, we were plus 12.02%. And in 2023, we were plus 15.99%. He goes on to say, average of all years, plus 10.27% the week following Thanksgiving. He goes on here to show this is huge news. Bitcoin shaping up to break 100,000 as Thanksgiving effect looms.
Armando, we've talked about this when everyone expected there to be a huge inflow of capital once the election was over, more if Trump won, but either way there would be, but Trump won. So, we're already seeing Bitcoin sort of now bouncing between a range of the, upper 80s to the very low 90s. It sort of moves up an increment and then does its own little bounce within that. What do you expect between now and the end of the year? Is it the same pattern, or do you think, we're seeing the inflows coming, we're going to keep seeing them coming, but are we kind of in a holding pattern or still going up?
A lot of people are saying 120 for the end of the year. I always said over a year ago that we'll be at 100 by the end of the year. 90,000 is a big psychological barrier, right? So every time we get past that, a lot of traders, especially a lot of traditional finance people, they think that they can't sustain that. So there's shorts, there's sell-offs, there's put options, everything against Bitcoin once it passes over 90, so it gets dragged down. And we've seen it pass 90, I think, 3 or 4 times so far in the last week. So 90 is a very, very powerful, 90 and 100 really will be very, very powerful psychological barriers to get past. But once we get past it and it's able to sustain itself past 90, we'll be at 100 rapidly. Like it's nothing in between 90 or 100 to stop, to stop Bitcoin from going to that higher limit. So I think we'll do that quickly before the end of the month. One big thing on the horizon, traditionally and historically in cryptocurrency community, there's a thing called the Thanksgiving effect. And in most years, this has happened, so especially in bull run years, is that when people have made these gains in crypto, Bitcoin specifically, and other, cryptocurrencies, what they do is they go home on Thanksgiving and they tell everybody about their gains. And then we see an influx of retail capital right after Thanksgiving. So that's what I think that retail capital after Thanksgiving is going to push Bitcoin to 100,000. We'll see it before the end of first week in December.
John, I love it. I didn't. Armando.
So there you have it from Armando Pantoja. We could see an increase here post-Thanksgiving. Would love to see it. Moving on to Mr. Mann here. He says RLUSD on extended global Forex data spreadsheet as an existing currency. Wowza. Extended global Forex data includes comprehensive currency information reflecting market trends. RLUSD or XRLUSD is a USD-backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger, included for its role in digital lost my spot here, currency markets and cross-border transactions. And he gives you the link there. As always, Mr. Mann doing a great job. And he gives you a screenshot here of the extended global Forex data showing the XRLUSD and how it is backed and tied to the US dollar. RLUSD is coming, ladies and gentlemen. I know we were hoping it would be here by now, but I believe Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple did say by the end of the year. So let's jump over to Emily here. She says, wow, the crypto community is more and more coming together. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and co-founder of Hedera, Alameen Bard, discussed a future partnership between Ripple and Hedera. Take a listen to this. This is great seeing these crypto companies coming together and forming partnerships. And this at the public blockchain for business here. These guys recently sat down to talk. Take a listen.
We have a point of contact that we can reach out to the Hedera community and collaborate. And I think we haven't yet come together around that, and I think there's an opportunity to do that.
I think that's amazing. It's so good to hear for your respective communities, but the crypto industry as a whole. Lehman, I know that you're big on this.
I am very big on this. So this is absolutely what we need. What we need to be doing is having the blockchains working together for things like this. So when we identify scams, we should inform each other and inform the exchanges and be working together as an industry on this, and to educate people and to find other ways that we can deal with these problems, because it affects all of us.
Yeah.
And
it's holding all of us back.
It's holding all of us back, right. And so we aren't just independent. We really are together.
Yeah.
And so I love that. And we've been doing decentralized recovery, which is another thing where we're working together. And I just think we as an industry have a lot of common interests that we can use to make it be useful to the rest of the world. And that's what we need to be working on.
For sure. I do think if you charted the impact of tribalism over time, is it waning or waxing?
Waning.
Waning.
I think it's waning in our industry.
Yeah, no, when I realized, I don't know which one it was. And so that's very, very good, but I think the more we can do to accelerate that, I think more often than not we agree. And frankly, I think for Ripple's, the experience we had at the SEC and the lawsuit, part of that fight was for Ripple, part of that fight was the whole industry. And I think it demonstrates that if we can kind of think about the broader community, the greater good, that can have a really positive impact for everybody.
You can feel the realness in that interview and how they want to partner, and it certainly seems like they're headed that direction. So great to see for the crypto community. Tony Edwards comes in here from Thinking Crypto Podcast. He does a great job. If you're not following him, I highly suggest you do. He says new, Trump is considering at Teresa Goody as the next SEC chair. She is an attorney and knows the ins and outs of blockchain and the rules and regulations around blockchain and crypto, and certainly seems like a qualified candidate. So lots of candidates, lots of names coming up for this position. Going to be critical for the Trump administration to choose the right person. Mr. Mann comes back in here and says plug and play, real world assets accelerator on XDC. He says as crypto finds their market value in December and stablecoins are regulated in EU, an RWA accelerator will begin in December 2024 as well. This plug and play accelerator of RWA will take place on XDC. And you can see there June 25 at the Plug and Play Silicon Valley Summit. XDC network already has a strong foothold in the real world asset tokenization space. More and more taking place. Mickle coming in here and says if Trump appoints Teresa Goody as chair, perhaps the SEC lawsuit against Ripple gets dismissed. And he tags Jeremy Hogan here and Freddie Rispoli and a few others. And Mickle likes this. He likes the sound of this. So I'm pretty sure whoever Trump appoints, they're going to consider and take a long look at the Ripple case and consider dismissing it or coming to a settlement quickly. Jimmy Valley comes in here and says, I concur with John Deaton here. I also sent Mr. Stebbins the attached interrogatories in May 2022, which is over 2 years ago for those scoring at home. No response, nothing from the ethics folks at this law firm either. This is Jimmy Valley, saying he does not think Mr. Stebbins should be appointed SEC chair. He was not responding from inquiries from Jimmy Valley, so they believe we can do better, and it certainly sounds that way for such an important position. And I believe Trump will make the right decision. Crypto Erie coming in here says, today at SBI Group announced a strategic investment in the Swiss company at WYDEN_IO, the best-in-class end-to-end infrastructure for banks, brokers, and funds to trade and manage their crypto. Medico, now at Ripple custody, is part of their solution. So yet more connections for Ripple here. These things are just adding up left and right, for sure. Black Swan Capitalist comes in here and says, fact, JP Morgan and Wall Street are behind the Ripple lawsuit and ETHgate because XRP solves the very friction their Ponzi schemes rely on. Without the fees, delays, and middlemen, their house of cards collapses. They're not fighting crypto, they're fighting the efficiency. Good stuff from Black Swan Capitalist. And Mr. Man here again, he says, mark your calendars. FedWire transition to ISO 20022 in March 10th, 2025. Stronghold SHX is ready. So good stuff there. Lots of news popping. Stay tuned for more. Certainly we're going to hear about RLUSD soon. Certainly we're going to hear about Gary Gensler's resignation soon. We're going to continue to watch pricings and partnerships. We'll keep you posted on all of it. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. Follow me on X at Orlando Mott, and we will see you on the flip side.